it turned out pretty decent. There was definitely room for growth, but I think I'm better now. So, but regardless, if the handle's cheap or something like that, I am confident I would be able to make it even into a decent one. You know, I'm not, I'm not a master freaking sword maker, but I've made knives and things like that. So yeah, yeah, that's why I feel confident I could make it work. I know that was one of the, like on the reviews, that was one of the big things that, was one of the big things that people, um, yeah, one of the big things that, people said about it was that they just didn't like, the way they handle it, and it seems great. Oh, well, not great, but it seems like pretty well. For me, I think I'm one of the lucky ones. But, I don't know, I'm excited about that thing. Even though I never really grew up to be like a sword guy, or was a sword guy. My brother, he's very, very, very much into swords and knives and axes and all that other cool stuff. Like I said, I can appreciate them, but I wasn't going to spend my money on them. You know what I'm saying? But like, if my brother was like, "Yeah, hold this," I'd be like, "Yeah," you know. Um, but hey, I figure, if someone's gotta, I'd rather be a guy that had a sword than didn't have a sword. If I ever needed a sword, I don't know. But yeah. Well, anyways, this also with this blade is it's not like complete. It's not sharp. Well, I mean it's sharp. But it's not like a completed blade that way. And so I'm definitely confident. And I can sharpen it. You know, I can get it nice and sharp. So like I said, as long as the metal itself is good, that's all that matters. And the metal did seem pretty good. It's not gonna bend and stick in place and all this other stuff. So um, that's pretty good because that's like one of the things one of the things you see with um, these cheap swords, because there's so many out there on the market, and so, but I mean, you can get some combat ready one if you need it. Um, you can definitely get them. The biggest, basically one of the biggest, thing that makes its value is how well the blade itself will actually handle some damage or more or something. So, like I said, sharpness and the handle is good as long as the skeleton is good. That's the most important thing. But I'm lucky in a way where I have experimented in making knives and stuff. I've made a few knives, not like, they'll never be like the coolest knife you ever saw, but I've made a couple, and I definitely will be making more down the line, I feel like, especially now that I'm talking about it. I had this one knife I made, actually, and I think I lost it in my hunting stuff, right? But I made it out of, I think it was a bimetal blade. was a bimetal blade for like a jigsaw, um, or a sawzall, not jigsaw, but yeah, sawzall, and it was actually a really decent knife. I was proud of that thing, and I made it, and I made this little sheath for it and everything, and honestly, it was just a really cool knife. I was really happy with the way the blade, the way I made the blade, and I really hope, like the shape of the blade, that is, um, like honestly, it would have been great for like if you're using it for cutting up like your cucumbers or something like that. I actually had brought it out. I was going hunting. I had brought it out, so I believe I packed it away with my hunting gear, but I couldn't find it, and I hope I do one day find that thing. Just not, you know, as like an everyday carry or anything like that, but just like have it as a nice little memento of the time period, and yeah, a memento of the time period, and because like that time period, around that time period, um, well, just such a weird time period. It was when my father was very ill, but he was like ill, but he was like still very coherent and able to be you know, part of, he might have been like, cause he was basically chair bound at that point, but like you said, there was a lot of beauty in that time period, as far as like being able to uh, show the best sides of my love, and just how much like with him, um, how we could how we could like, well, some of the things like you don't think about like in the time, like when when you need advice, and to be able to go right to him. He's such a like he had knowledge in anything and everything, even if it was like a little bit, or like he had like a decent understanding of all kinds of things, like decent understanding of doing electric. He could do it all. You could talk to him about a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? And if it was something he didn't know about, you'd say, you know, I don't know about it, or whatever. But I always admired that so much of my father. Like, but it also made me think so much of times, like being like a teenager. Yeah, being a teenager, or other times where I was just consumed of like playing video games and stuff like that, and wasn't forced to go like work on the car with him or something, and or anything like that. He would definitely take the help, and stuff if you're willing to help, and there was a few times growing up I just, I'd be busy doing something like that, or daydreaming in a way, working on some of the artistic. I mean, some of it made me who I was, but there's a few times something like that, you would shut it down. I mean, honestly, it just really, really was a man's man, a really wonderful guy. And then, like I said, the older he got, the better he got, and so blessed to have him, and to yeah, blessed to have him, and to just be able to yeah, just blessed, you know. And the thing was, you know, he wasn't even my biological father. Um, you know, he technically was my stepdad, but I never looked at him like a stepdad because, I mean, literally, it's just my dad, my father. He was there my whole life. Literally, I was 6 months old. 6 months old when he started dating my mom and he came into my life. And yeah, that's pretty amazing. And he didn't, he just ended up being such a legend. You know what I mean? I think that is what an achievement. Uh, you come into this kid's life and you just give him love, and then you do such a good job that they look at you like you're a legend. You know what I mean? Man, he did it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, if you had to be graded on something, that's amazing. Like, if they're that's a life, that's a life being fulfilled. Like um, yeah, it's a life fulfilled, and that's pretty cool. Um, one of the great meanings of life, I guess, of loving. I think that's, um, yeah, um, one part of what this is, I believe, is loving, truly loving, being of yourself, being open of yourself. I definitely think that is a part of the big scheme of things. Uh, I think life is meant for living, loving, and laughing, and you know, and putting your belief in whatever it is you believe in, and I think living up to being living up to being someone that you would be proud of. I think that it's just a piece of the puzzle that equates to um, a life fulfilled. But all these things are just my opinions. You know what I mean? And if you believe something different, that is a-okay. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all love here. It is all love here. I'm just looking out off to the side here, and I have, I bought this little, bobblehead. A little bit ago. It was from after Christmas, right? And it was on sale at Dollar General, actually. They had it marked down, and I snagged it. And mind you, like I said, it's after Christmas. It's part of an after Christmas sale, but it was the Christmas Story. It's the Christmas Story lamp, but it's a leg lamp. Well, it's the leg lamp, but it's a bobblehead, and it's solar powered. Anyways, I put it in my little office here. I thought it was cute, you know what I mean? I always liked Christmas Story, and really Christmas decoration as it is, from a classic movie, paying homage. So, yeah, so I just don't feel like I need it to be like Christmas time to wrap that out, So it's a little neat little bobblehead at my desk. I just think a nice little morale booster. But like if this was like 5 years ago, I would have never bought that thing. It's just funny. I would have never bought it. I would have never bought it if when I was younger. So I don't know what that says about me now. I'm certainly not the same person today that I was 2 years ago. I am definitely changed. I have recently too. I've had some like crazy health stuff going on a little bit, but yeah, like I found out I have like a enlarged, like the top part of my heart is enlarged, and then like yeah, like it's like yeah, the top part of my heart's like enlarged, and then like and in the center of it there's like a back I guess I get like a back feed of blood, the blood back feeds, and so like the so that was yes, that's something I learned. I've had a few issues along the way with it, and then the other day I actually got got a little bit wobbly from my blood pressure, but now that's another thing that's been a recent development. I had, without blood pressure medicine, I had like 3 days of like just amazing blood pressure, and I hadn't really been checking it before, but I like checked, and it was in a really great range without being on meds, and so that was really cool, but then, and like like I said, I have the medicine, and I had taken it the other day, but then I hadn't taken it before, like, 'cause I was recently getting back into taking it, and the lows now, like, I get lows that I had never gotten before, in, like, unprecedented times, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of interesting. So we're gonna see about that. We're just feeling it out right now. Maybe my body's kind of even itself out. I've had really good mental energy lately. I have these alpha nootropic pouches I've been getting. I mainly got them because I wanted to try different, I don't know, just try some. I like to try different things sometimes, and it's just something like, maybe this is like an OCD thing. I've been really, really wondering lately if I have OCD. But I certainly love to like organize things, and when I'm like getting like music or like digital movies, I like to really organize them like into their own separate. Like I like to have them. I have like this hard drive. I save my digitals on, and then I organize it by this and that, and but that's just like one of those things that I really love to organize, or like very meticulously like to like sometimes I'll play these games where it's like you gotta upgrade your swords, right? But you can also move on into the story. Like you don't have to be as powerful or something. And I like to, cause especially the way that like I've been playing Dark the sword. And now we're talking about the swords. Must be swords that have been on my mind. But anyways, in Dark Cloud, the swords evolve after a bit once you reach certain status, attack power, and all this other stuff. Their fire ability, their wind ability, whatever, regardless it needs. So you build them up, and I just get really meticulous on that, like level it up and work up toward the best version of that sword. And I've even been doing that on like I even sort of like that with, I don't know, like, so that's why I wonder if I'm OCD, is like, even on that online game, I've been doing the same thing where I'm like really, I don't know, doing like repetitive slash organizing, I don't, you know, type things on these games. And, but it also is like some of my peace state, like, you know, like I'm organizing my music or my digital videos, right, onto my thing, you know, and I have them all categorized into this, you know what I mean? And so like, I don't know, it's just kind of, you know, like, this is Sylvester Stallone movies, you know, or something like that, you know, and they all get their own movie section, and then I'm like, oh, this is Disney movies, or this is, you know, like if it's a franchise type thing, like Star Wars or something, that trumps, like, the actor file name type thing, like, so it's like all of, unless it's like, so singularity in my head, adjusted to that of the celebrity or whatever, you know, so if it's like Stallone, like the Expendables, like I would put that in the Expendables thing, but I have a whole folder just on, like, these franchises, you know what I mean, and if, you know, like, some of them, like Alien, for example, that would be in that folder, but the Expendables might be in Stallone's just because I want all of them to be with the, to be with their actor, you know what I'm saying? So I'd be like, oh, I'm in the mood for Sylvester Stallone. The only one of the few things you would have issues, though, with this format that I have set up, it would be that, maybe if it was a particular person that wasn't so into knowing who these actors are in the movies, you know, I love film, and I really do enjoy it. I enjoy movies that make me feel things, make me laugh, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I try to have a good collection and whatever. And I don't know, I like to organize and fine-tune things for sure. Like, the fine-tuning in that regard is pretty cool. But then I'll also have times where listening to this and falling asleep, ideally that would be what I would get going on. But if you listen, you probably find some interesting things. But if you fall asleep, that's okay, because that's where we're going for, you know. So I've got that going on. Right now I'm looking at this book, and I just want to express that I'm very, very happy with having received this book. Like, I did a little promo video for it, but I'm not joking. I have this book in my store, and it's, the name of the book is I Would, But My Damn Mind Won't Let Me. And it's from Jackie Laterne, and it was sent to me from Jackie, I do believe. At least that's from where the address or whatever it came from. And yeah, it's a book she wrote about. Like, they'll give you these subjects, and you can even write your feelings on in these. After you read these segments, and it talks about the way your mind works and how so many ways of how of like these patterns in humans and things like that. It's really good. Well, here I'll just tell you, it's a simple guide to help you understand and manage your complex thoughts and feelings. And honestly, it's pretty cool, because the more I'm just getting into so much more, I have been getting into like understanding how I feel, and looking like it's funny, like Theo Von, this is all tied together, but Theo Von, he'll ask himself, he'll say like, how do I think, and how do I feel about this? And it at first it always kind of struck me as a little bit like whatever, you know, like but that he was saying that to himself, and just instead of just thinking it. But I think the power of saying that is like, how do I think about this? I think the power of saying that keeps it almost, puts it more in line. In line as a focus point, you know. And so I guess it just makes you a little more aware of your thoughts. And that's just another way. I love Theo Von, and where like he you know, makes you think about things. And I also think in so many ways he represents, because he's so real and true to who he is. Like, I know for me, he's definitely like a role model in a lot of ways, to where he, you know, he talks about his feelings, he talks about this or that, things that would maybe even be considered shameful, or like that men have felt shame about or whatever, and just all kinds of, like, he's very open and true to himself. And I think that's just one of the beauties of podcasting, you know, that I found, that there's like, it's a very real conversation, but it's a one-way conversation, you know what I'm saying? And so it gets your brain working just like being part of a conversation in a way, I think, you know. And so quite often in between when I'm like filming my ASMR and stuff like that, quite often in between I will that's when I will actually listen to podcasts. I got really forgot what I was thinking about for a second there. But yeah, I would because I just like sitting here anyways, for one. At my desk working on, things. I'll watch stuff on my phone and sometimes play on a handheld and stuff. But yeah, I definitely am a guy that gets distracted too. Like I said, I'll have like three or four. That's another thing too, is I have like three or four things I get going and working on. Some people say that's like a sign of anxiety or a way of coping with anxiety. And then others might say that is like part of being a high productive person. I don't know. I can be very productive, but I can also be not. So, but the older I get, the more I want to be productive, which is good. I think I've had just so much to look at life. And, the more to look at life and that experience I was talking about with my dad, it was, when it's like you're first to that extent, it changes you, it gives you new perspectives, there's like, we have loss in life, and then there's like these ones that completely change your life. Like, my life has not been the same, since my pops died, and it's like, I mean, it's like a piece of the puzzle getting removed, and then like, then the picture's not the same. You just, like maybe if you had a picture, right, and there's this house in the very, very background, right, but in a way it's supposed to be the focal point. But you take out that piece of the puzzle that kind of blurs that image, and now it's not the same. So it's kind of like that, I think. You know what I mean? Or there's the ones that, like I said, there's the losses that hurt. It hurt, it hurts. But then there's ones where you're completely absorbed into the situation, absorbed into everything going on, and it's someone that it just hits different, And so, but I gotta say, one thing about me is like I do definitely try to allow it to make me better. Like there's a part of me that's like that, where I naturally flow to that. Once I'm getting through it, I do start looking at things in a deep way, and that's one thing I'm proud of. That's another funny thing. Like my dad, he's like you're like your mother. Like he would say that like about me. I am very much like my mom. I'm a lot like him too. Like when I'm being like he was particular, and my dad was particular in a way that I think people loved it. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's particular in a way where people are, what the heck, but then there's like being particular in a way where it just, you stand out. It makes you different, and he was like particular, like about certain things, just as little things he liked about, like where he's putting his toothbrush or organizing his lotions and stuff like that. But he wasn't like, I don't know, maybe he had OCD for, I don't know, but I think I got that from him for sure. But I always admired it, so, yeah, the man was organized. Like I said, it sounds like, like, some people, like, in hindsight say this, no, dude, all my life, I knew what I had when I had it, you know what I mean? Maybe not to the degree where like I said, with the, like, working on things, but man, when I got, even, like, when I was getting older and dealing with him, I freaking, older I got, the more I just, freaking really, really, really took in more of what he said, like, probably from 26 on, I really, really, really he said something about this or that, like, hey, you might want to change those belts in your car, because, if they, like, this is like a perfect example, like, my first car, the belts were kind of dry rotted when I first got it. He's like, if you're gonna drive around, if those belts go, it's gonna really mess up your vehicle, it's gonna overheat and stuff. It's very important to replace these belts. I was like, yeah, man. And they're like, you probably can drive it a little bit, but I wouldn't really do anything with it. And I was like, yeah. And when I didn't take his advice by being like getting right on it and doing it, which I should have got right on it and done it, got him replaced, like heeded his warnings, it was like, man, literally every time there was anything like that, and he spoke up, anytime, and it ended, like, like, when I was younger, it'd be like, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll do that, or whatever, and then it would go bad, and then I'm like, he was right, and, so then eventually I learned, when he's saying these things or whatever, the man knows what he's talking about. So I always had that going. And, yeah, the older I got, the more I just, like, absorb. And, it's pretty amazing. And my mom, since my dad's passing, like I said, dude, I've always had that toward my parents. My parents, like my best friends, you know what I mean? Like my mom is like my best friend. I have like very few people I'm super close, like can feel very, that I let in and things like that, but like the highest of regards is like my parents and my brother, my brother's like family, like that, my central family, like I freaking, nothing I hold more dear, and so, and like, and then what, the farther out you get, like, as far as friends, I'm very choosy on my, like, like, the ones not choosy, but like, the ones I keep close, like, like, basically I'm proud of that, like, if I tell you I love you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm proud, that's something I really am proud of when it comes to myself, is like, if I tell you I love you, I take comfort in that, like, people know that about me, like, there's kind of what you see is what you get, and that is, one of those things I'm really proud about. Like, if it's like a person that has a lot of BS going on, I do notice, like, and like, they're trying to, like, sell you on something, like, sell you on, those people that are salesmen in life without selling anything, you know what I mean? I notice those are the ones I always have the biggest waves of issues with in life. For the most part, I get along really good, but when I ever do run into that, I'm just always proud that I kind of try to just remain being me regardless of whatever's happening, because usually these people, when they're trying to sell you and you're not picking up what they're putting down, that's when they like start causing trouble for you and stuff like that. I know that's the biggest time I start running into issues when it comes to people. But luckily, and like, you might know it, but like when I was younger, I would stick around and let them burn me, but now that I'm older, I just don't allow opportunities for people like that to be in my life now, you know what I mean? Like, if I go, man, I am getting a bad vibe about this guy, I don't bring him in, you know what I mean? steal your car, right? You go, oh, this guy might steal my car. Like, I'm getting some bad vibes, right? He looks like he was jealous of my car. I don't even know, dude. You know what I mean? It could be whatever. And, but you tell yourself, oh, this guy has got those kind of vibes or whatever, and then, or making you feel like that, but you stick around, and then you go, oh, he stole my car. You know what I mean? So when I feel those feelings now, I just, I'm like, I try not to, like, you don't want to be a person that takes it to, I don't know if you can probably hear that wind's blowing, but I wouldn't want to be that person that just writes people off either. You don't want to be that way. But I do think there is something about, like, hey, if you see danger and you see all these red flags, and you truly, in your hearts of heart, see it maybe for the mental health aspect, because I'm like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want, I'm a sensitive guy that way, like, getting hurt like that, you know what I mean? Betrayal, like, I had a lot of that, or when I was younger, and, I'm just, those are the kind of things that hit me harder, you know what I mean? So I have a really terrible, habit of, like, moving on, or letting go of, maybe, like, letting go of things like that hurt me, or I feel disrespected or whatever. I can be cool, but I just internalizing, that's it, internalize, not eternalize, internalize it, and, I find that that's not good. This is actually becoming quite the therapy session, but, but I also take pride in the fact that I'm a pretty open person about my feelings too. That's, like I said, one of those things. I'm like, when I tell you I love you, I love you. You know what I mean? If I'm telling you, like I said, one of the things I'm proud of in this life is that I do openly tell people how they know where honestly, a lot of people, like, they know where they stand with me. You know what I mean? And I give caring love, and if you're absolutely someone I can't trust, I just won't be around you. But if you're someone that, you know what I mean, we might not see eye to eye, there's never any issues. Like, but everyone kind of knows where they sit with me, and I kind of like that, that's something I'm proud of. Outward with those emotions, yeah, and like, I'm not gonna be a straight jerk to anybody I don't like, but, it's just, if you've shown signs of being someone that's, like gonna gun for, like, say you're gonna act like you're my friend and gun for my job, which I've dealt with that, and things like that. You're like, oh, this guy is just trying to sweet talk you or whatever, but they're really, I've dealt with things like that before. But it could be anything. It'd be like, oh, they're after your girlfriend or whatever, But I think that's just part of life. You're always gonna run into people like that, But one of the big things you gotta do is, like, you can either let it tear you up, you can either let it define you, you can either let it make you a better person, or, you can move on. You can let it define you, you know what I'm saying? So, the older I get, I think I'm getting better about that stuff too, you know what I mean? And I think that, in some ways, like, that experience of allowing it to make you better and everything, and like I said, it's one of the, I truly believe it's just one part of, is what the meaning of life is, you know what I'm saying? Because I think the meaning of life is, like, going it's just one dude's opinion. I'm not an expert on nothing. I'm not an expert on nothing. But I do like to think I'm ever growing, and I think we all really truly are ever growing. And I think being ever growing is part of the life too, like one of the meanings of life, or part of the culmination of the meaning of life. So, yeah. Bonjour. But, yeah, this bad boy's getting to be about an hour, so I am going to get off here, and I just want to say thank you for this. Let me know if you guys really would like a podcast, or maybe even a podcast in this form, where it's the audio, and then you have the other, like the background, or maybe you have like a little bit of actual live looking setup or something. I don't know. I don't know. Definitely leaning toward like mix-ins of podcasts, like a formal podcast, So let me know. But yeah, much love, everybody. It's been good. Probably had a little bit I needed to get off my chest, or just really figure out how I feel about it. Like I said, like Theo Von, how he asked, like, how do I feel about that? What do I feel about it? And I think asking that is like really good. Like the fact that I saw him asking about it was really good for me, because I think, for example, that book that I'm really happy managing my complex thoughts and feelings, I think is part of that. So it's pretty good. So anyways, thank you so much for listening. I hope you actually did listen, and you're seeing this, and you fall asleep, or you managed to listen to it because you enjoyed it. But I hope, I really do think it'd be great if it helped you fall asleep. So I would love that. And it's good that I can ramble it. Do something like this where I can ramble and felt up to it. I think it's very therapeutic in itself. So love you all so much. You have